You know, when you walk into a standard office building or like a school, you just sort of expect the infrastructure to be, well, pretty simple. A light switch turns on a light, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
a thermostat reads the temperature. And those little white mesh grills in the ceiling, I mean, they're just speakers.
Right, because traditionally they're just analog components. A wire runs to them, and they receive a single physical audio signal, and then they just vibrate to make sound.
Yeah, that's their entire job.
Literally their only job.
It's a comforting thought, honestly. But as we dive into today's sources for you, that simplicity is, well, it's officially gone. Okay, let's unpack this. We're looking at a technological landscape that is basically hiding in plain sight.
It really is.
Because today, our mission for this deep dive is to analyze a product page we pulled from HDTV Supply. Officially, it's called the Advanced Network Devices IPSCM-RMe IP speaker.
Quite a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. But really, we're talking about a highly sophisticated, fully networked computer that's just disguised as boring office hardware.
Right, because physically, I mean, if you picture it, it looks exactly like what you'd expect. It's an 8-inch speaker meant to drop right into a standard 10-foot ceiling.
Okay.
And it projects sound in about a 10-foot radius.
Yeah.
But the second you look at how it actually connects to the building, that traditional speaker comparison just completely falls apart.
Well, yeah, because typically you'd need this heavy copper speaker wire, right?
Yeah.
Snaking all the way back to some massive hot amplifier in a utility closet somewhere.
Exactly, plus a separate power source usually.
Right. But this device, it doesn't use traditional speaker wire at all. It runs entirely on the data network.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is that it uses power over Ethernet, or PoE.
Mhm.
So instead of calling a certified electrician to pull separate electrical lines and then paying an AV crew to pull audio lines, you just plug in a single standard Cat5 or Cat6 network cable.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that one cable gives it all the electrical juice it needs to operate, so 15.4 watts for standard PoE or 30 watts for PoE+, while simultaneously feeding it complex digital data.
Which makes perfect sense when you compare it to the stuff sitting on our desks. For you listening, think about the USB-C cable you probably use for your laptop.
That's a really great analogy.
Right. That one tiny cable charges the computer's battery while simultaneously pushing out a massive 4K video signal to your monitor. It's that exact same logic, just applied to the permanent bones of a building.
Exactly. You click in one network cable, and you vastly simplify the entire installation process.
Right.
And because it's powered by that data network, it isn't just sitting there passively waiting for an audio wave. It is an active participant on the network.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because the specs mention this speaker has its own built-in web server.
Yep.
And it also has a general-purpose input to physically wire in a call button.
That's right.
But I have to push back here because this sounds like massive overkill. Well, why on earth does a ceiling speaker need its own web server? I mean, if you have hundreds of these IP nodes sitting in the ceilings of a corporate campus, isn't that just adding unnecessary complexity and like a huge cybersecurity risk?
I totally get that.
Like, wait, if this is SIP enabled and integrates with VoIP, is this practically a two-way intercom disguised as a ceiling tile?
It is exactly that.
Okay.
And it sounds like overkill until you understand how modern building management actually operates.
Okay.
The web server is there because these aren't just speakers. They are independent network nodes. Being SIP-enabled, which stands for Session Initiation Protocol, it's essentially the digital handshake that lets voice-over IP phone systems connect.
Got it.
So this speaker can basically ring and connect to the digital phone network exact like a standard telephone.
So if I wire a physical call button to it, someone presses it and it initiates a two-way VoIP call right there.
Precisely. And the reason you want every single speaker to be an independent smart node is really for mass notification.
Oh, I see.
These units seamlessly integrate with third-party mass notification software, so platforms like Informacast, Revolution, and Bell Commander.
So it's not just for background music.
Not at all. Let's say there's a campus lockdown. You really don't want to rely on a central analog amplifier that might fail or, only reach certain zones.
Right, that makes sense.
With this system, a centralized security dashboard can instantly override every single speaker on the network. It turns hundreds of individual units into a synchronized, localized emergency broadcast web.
Oh, wow. So it can sync clocks across a school and trigger visual alarms if there's a strobe light attached?
Yes, exactly.
And broadcast two-way emergency audio, all bypassing those traditional analog failure points? Because, I mean, If every single speaker is its own smart device, if one cable gets cut in a hallway, the rest of the building's emergency system just stays perfectly online.
You nailed it. You are trading the simplicity of copper wire for the resilience and flexibility of a decentralized computer network.
So what does this all mean? Bringing this all together for you, whether you're an IT director outfitting a new floor or just someone interested in how the world works, it shows how building infrastructure is really consolidating.
Very true.
And by the way, the current price on HDTV Supply is $398.98, which is actually down from the MSRP of $466.81.
Right. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we are quietly witnessing the extinction of traditional analog systems. The old copper wires simply cannot support the centralized control and the instant firmware updates that modern facilities demand.
It really changes how you look at a room. So we'll leave you with this thought. The next time you walk down a corporate hallway or you sit in a classroom or a waiting room, just take a second and look up at the ceiling.
Yeah, take a close look.
Are those just simple speakers waiting to play hold music? Or are you actually surrounded by individual web-hosted network nodes quietly waiting in disguise for a digital command?